Not the 4-week plan, but this guy's going to be funnier than all three of those guys together. So get ready. Put your hands together for Hurley King.
Let's see. They on themselves.
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing?
Right.
I would sit down, but y'all gonna judge me and shit, so I'm not gonna do this shit. I think all black sit down on job, don't I? See, look here. I'm not gonna do that shit, all right? I'm just chill. Hey, recently I went to visit my 95-year-old grandmother, and I hadn't seen her in 4 years. Can y'all hear me? Like, I hadn't seen her in 4 years. But she had a sign on the door that said, "Watch your step," but I didn't pay it any attention. And when she came to the door, I gave her a big hug. I squeezed her so tight, she started kicking and screaming, "Get off me, get off me," with an attitude, right? So I backed up off and apologized to her. I said, "I'm sorry, Grandma, did I squeeze you too tight?" She said, "No, you stupid motherfucker, you're stepping on my nipples." She said, "Did you read the goddamn sign? You know I got these orangutan titties." The moral of the story is, reading is fundamental, people. So, my favorite auntie, she gave my 5-year-old cousin a surprise birthday party. And the reason I call her my favorite auntie is because when I was 12 years old, these two adult men, they jumped me. And my auntie came from out of nowhere like Wonder Woman and beat them both down. I thought she was throwing them blows like she was a dude, right? So ever since then, she's been my favorite auntie. And but when my 5-year-old cousin came into the room, everybody yelled surprise to her, and you should have seen the look on her face. She was so excited. She ran and jumped in my auntie's arms, and I heard her pop. I thought she hurt her back. She immediately fell to the floor in pain, right? And so I went over and asked her, I said, "Are you okay?" She said in a high-pitched voice, "No, that little bitch need me in my nuts." You know, the moral of the story is, my auntie used to be my uncle. So I just got back from New York last night. I did a show at Rodney Dangerfield Comedy Club. That was a dream come true because he always been one of my favorite comedians, him and Richard Pryor. After the show, we went to this fancy restaurant to celebrate our 10th year anniversary. They had our table decorated extremely nice. Y'all should have seen it. They had music, candlelight, flowers, and tin balloons that said happy anniversary on them. But we noticed this older couple kept staring at us. They looked like they could have been in their 80s, I guess. Later on, they came over and introduced themselves to us. They told us that they were celebrating their 65th anniversary. We said, "Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations." They said, "Thank you. And you two, y'all remind us so much of ourselves when we was your age. And y'all make a beautiful couple." We said, "Thank you." Try to tell that to our spouses. Speaking of spouses, after 35 years of marriage, I'm finally starting to rub off on mine. Get your mind out the gutter. Ain't say I start to roll one out on them. It's a difference, you know. The reason I say this is because my wife is a very serious person. She don't normally joke around like I do. But the other day I was trying to fabricate a piece of material to go inside my suit coat pocket. And I told my wife, I said, "I need to find something black and hard to go behind this piece of material." You know what I'm saying, right? She said, "Good luck with that." Hell, I've been trying to find something black and hard for 35 years. They said, "Y'all say that out loud?" So my son called his mom for Mother's Day. She was asleep, so I answered her phone. I said, "Hello?" He said, "You ain't my mama." I said, "I know it. I ain't your daddy either." They bothered my son so much, he wanted to take one of those ancestry tests. I don't know about y'all, but I like messing with my son. He's a real smart dude. He just graduated college, magna cum laude, right? He gets his brains from his mom. I was a dumb motherfucker in school, boy. But I remember he had told me, he said, "Dad, I'm about to graduate college, magna cum laude." I said, "Congratulations. Does that mean the bottom of the class like your daddy?" My grandson said, "Papa, you rude." I said, "You haven't seen rude. Once I throw you deep in a swimming pool and you can't swim." Now that's rude. But my son, he got me back one time. We was remodeling his house, right? And I was laying towel, and he said, "Dad, I normally don't tell another man how to do his job, but my mom always said, if you see something, say something. So I'm going to say something." I said, "What's that?" He said, "You don't know what you're doing, do you?" So I laughed it off. I started gathering my things. He said, "Where you going?" I said, "I got a saying too." He said, "What's that?" I said, "You want something done right? Do it your goddamn self." And I left. He been calling me every day for the last 2 months trying to get me to come finish the bathroom. So my cousin came over to the house the other day, unannounced. She just popped up like a magician. And my wife and I was at home chilling watching Netflix. My wife still had on her pajamas. I had on old t-shirts, some gym shorts, and a pair of Harley Davidson sneakers. I purchased online off of Temu. You know that's that knockoff shit come from China, right? Evidently the sneakers I had on look like the ones that Kanye West came up with called Yeezy. Have y'all heard of those? They're expensive, aren't they? See, I didn't know that until my niece said, she said, Uncle Hurley, well, those Yeezys you're wearing? She was dead serious too. I said, well, it just depends on how much they cost. She said, they're only $600. I said, $600? Hell no, these aren't Yeezys. These are Negro pleasers for $59.95. I wish I would pay $600 for some sneakers. My cousin, she upset with me. She got upset with me because all of us was getting ready to go out to dinner. It was me, my wife, my cousin, and her fiance. And my cousin was in her room getting dressed. All of a sudden, I heard her yell out, yo, cuz, can I holler at you for a minute? So I went to her room. I said, what's up? She said, I need you to be honest with me, okay? I said, come on, man. That's the only way I know how to be. Integrity is my middle name. I live by that. She said, okay. Then she asked me a famous female question. Y'all know the one that all females ask men. She said, does this dress make me look big? I said, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, you make it look small. I haven't seen her hurt herself. I know one day I'm going to hear from her, though. You know how I know? I still owe her $100. That's how I know. So I went on this riverboat cruise. Anybody been on a riverboat? Yes, sir. This is fun, isn't it? The boat I was on was full to capacity, right? I was the only black person on there, boy. I told the captain, I said, whatever you do, please don't let nothing happen to this boat. Not that I was scared I was going to drown or get my hair wet, obviously, but it was the fact that I know how black people are. We'll watch the news and be like, that's what he get. His black ass didn't have no business on that boat with all the white people. No way. He out there doing white people shit. So I did a show in Chinatown last year in Los Angeles, right? And while I was on stage performing, I witnessed one of the funniest things I've ever seen before in my life. This Korean dude came up with a dog on a leash. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I lived in Korea for 3 years, so I know what they eat, right? So I asked him, I said, excuse me, sir, does they dog for sin or for dinner? You know, that'd be like me walking here with a chicken on a leash, right? You know, that chicken will be in trouble, though. That joke would be walking he'll be on death row walking the Green Mile, boy. I'll be walking his ass straight to the frying pan. Y'all be like, dead chicken walking. So since I retired from the military, we got any veterans in here? What branch?
Army.
Okay, where was you stationed at?
Here.
That's your jacket she was wearing? I seen somebody with a, yeah, I seen that lightning on your side. That's 25th Avenue. Yeah, okay. Where'd you get my West?
Medic.
Okay, that's what's up. So if somebody started coughing and pass out, you get them, right?
Sure.
Right? You have them out, don't check their pockets. But anyway, what was I saying, man? You fucked me up. Too much weed in this shit. But anyway, since I retired from the military, I noticed they changed their rules and regulations. Because now I'm starting to see a lot of overweight soldiers wearing full beards and goatees. And I was in the military, we couldn't wear beards and goatees. Now everybody's wearing it. Hell, I ran into a person the other day that had a nice goatee. He had the handlebar mustache, the cut off on the end, and everything. I asked myself, how you get your goatee to look like that? She said. So last time I had a pool party at my house, right? And after everybody got through swimming, everybody left except my brother-in-law. He retired Navy guy. They don't speak the same lingo as his Army guy. We use a lot of acronyms, right? So when he got out the shower, he yelled out to me, he said, yo, brother-in-law, you got any lotion? I said, no, I got some DSG. Look in the medicine cabinet. He was in there about 5 minutes looking around. He said, I don't see it. I said, look on the top shelf in the back left-hand corner. He said, all I see is Vaseline. I said, that's it. He got pissed, right? He said, well, why you call it DSG? I said, because it's dick spanking grease. Hey, did y'all hear about Trump getting $5,000 stimulus check?
I thought it was 2,000. I thought it was 2,000.
No, it's 5,000. You just have to go to what's called Ukraine to pick it up. Yeah. So a really good friend of mine from Compton, California came to visit me last month. Real cool white dude. He's so cool, black people gave him a nickname. You know, you gotta be cool for black people to give you a nickname, right? We nicknamed him Al. Short for albino. He reminded me of that comedian Gary Owens though, because he loves sister girls. That's all he talk about. When he came to visit, we hung out at the mall. Al tried to talk to every sister he seen. Later on, he wanted to go to Foot Locker to try to find a pair of Air Force Ones to match his LeBron James jersey. So we went to Foot Locker, and this beautiful sister named Felicia was working there. She was drop dead gorgeous, boy. Al jumped right on her. He had her smiling and giggling and everything. For a minute, I thought he was going to get lucky. And all of a sudden, Felicia said, I can't date you. He said, why not? She said, because I'm looking for a man with 9 inches of rock hard pressure between his legs. And I'm not going to settle for anything else. I know exactly what I need. Al said, 9 inches, huh? She said, yep, 9 inches and nothing less. Al looked her up and down and said, Felicia, you fine as hell. But I'm not cutting 2 inches off with nobody. Felicia said, wait, what? Al said, bye, Felicia. Growing up in the ghetto was rough. I'm from St. Louis, Illinois, so I had to do it fast. And I went to all black school. It's different going to integrated school because in all black school, you have to be ready to fight every day. And I went to school with some pretty big dudes, boy, and I must have had beers already and stuff. And this was in grade school. But this thing's right here that y'all take for granted. For instance, when y'all go to the bathroom, y'all have real signs when y'all do it, don't you? We didn't have that. Somebody wrote ours in with a permanent marker. They misspelled words. You ain't know which door to go in. I remember one time when I was in the 5th grade, I ended up going in the mock closet. There was 2 dudes there shooting dice. The one dude see me say, close the door, you little nappy-headed thug, before you get us busted. Just bust them, kick your ass. And that was the principal. I guess he'll lead by example, right? But see, y'all don't have those kind of problems because y'all signs clearly say men, women, and others, or guys, gals, and others. Not ours. I said pimps, hoes, and tricks. Another thing growing up in the ghetto, going to all black school, we didn't have those inspirational sayings on the wall like in the integrated school, right? Y'all had sayings like, welcome class of the future, entrepreneurs and president, like that. We had writing on that wall, but it didn't say no shit like that. It said for a good time called LaQuisha. Or our teachers might say, welcome class of the future, drug dealers, streetwalkers, and jailbirds. You know, shit like that. So when I retired from the military, I got a job as an instructor. And the company that hired me only hired retired military guys. They paid us very well, and we traveled all over the country teaching the Army and the Marines how to do their jobs. What I like about the job is, on our lunch break, some of us go to the break room, play cards and dominoes, and talk shit to one another. Now, everybody knows when you get 2 or more black people together, we can get pretty loud, okay? Come on, white people, y'all know that shit. Just imagine 15 of us. We sound like the trumpet before the storm in the Capitol building. Or we may just talk about the different disabilities that we developed from the war. Things like Agent Orange, PTSD, cancer, and all the other stuff that's killing us. So now we're trying to get compensated for it. And I go to see 100% because that's what we deserve. We got this one guy on our team. He been stuck on 90% for 10 years, and he had one of his arms blown off in Iraq. Now, don't y'all think he deserves 100%? Yeah. So do I. But he's pretty much given up on it. He said if he ever get it, though, he's going to quit that job and stay on the fish because he loves to fish. But he's one of the funniest guys on our team, though. I remember one time when I went to the break room, there they were playing cards and dominoes, talking trash to one another. He seen me, said, what's up, King? Tell me something good. I said, man, you're not going to believe this article I just read. He said, you got that right, because we all know you can't read. I said, no, man, I'll jump aside. This is going to benefit everybody right here. He said, well, tell it to us then, brother. I said, the article said, if you've been diagnosed with erectile dysfunction, you may qualify for additional 15% for LBDS. He jumped up on tape, so I got that shit. I know I got that. That's gonna put me over the top right there, goddamn. He said, finally, I'm gonna get my 100%, I'm gonna quit this job and stay on and fish all day. There's some more dude said, King, what is LBDS? I said, little bitty dick syndrome. Hey, that's my time, y'all. My name is Early King. I'm the soldier of comedy. Get up with my man there, right?
All right, so sorry to distract from his set there, but if anybody was wondering, there was a lady over there that wanted to shut the fuck up, and her date was a very nice gentleman trying to get her to shut the fuck up. And apparently they are having problems in the parking lot.
Uh-oh.
So